So we are going to grab the duck that has been curing for about 16 hours. So the last course on our tasting menu is the duck Numidian. This first step of this process is to wash the cure off of the duck. We're going to set it up to confit. This is cured with a little bit of pink curing salt, some resham patti chilies, which are from South India, cumin, coriander, cardamom, a little bit of nutmeg and fenugreek. It's a dish that's inspired by a recipe that's 927 years old from pre-Crusade southern Spain. It's one of the most labor-intensive dishes that we have in-house. As Indian cooks, we always go work in French restaurants before we go anywhere else. So a sachet is something that we learn how to infuse the flavors of the spices without losing the spices into whatever you're cooking it in. So we're gonna go cinnamon, some South Indian chilies there, cardamom clove, cumin, black mustard seed, another very South Indian flavor that's very distinct, very different from North India, of course. Same with fenugreek as well, black pepper and fennel. And then lastly, some turmeric. For Italians, there's pasta. For Indians, there's spices, right? This is our core. It's really the foundation of everything that we do. Afterwards, we're gonna set it up in this hotel pan with our 4-year-old duck fat. This fat comes from the past almost 4 years of us cooking this duck. Every week, the fresh batches of duck replenishes this duck fat. So essentially, if we do our jobs, we should never run out of duck fat. So this duck is gonna go in for 5 hours, and we're gonna pull it and debone it in a little bit. I was born in Chennai in South India. South Indian cooking is a big part of what we do. The Coach House is a 22-seat tasting menu where we explore not only where I am from in regards to my cultural upbringing, but also the experiences that I've had as a cook up till this point. So we're gonna make our red rice khichdi. Khichdi is a very old school, kind of homey dish. So this is gonna be another component of that duck dish that we're working on. The first step in it, we basically toast our rice and our spices together. So that's what we're gonna do here with some butter. Red rice is used for a really beautiful khichdi. Khichdi has different phases of basically, if you kind of cook it a little bit longer, it almost becomes like this porridge that people also eat in the South. So our khichdi is South Indian, made with red rice, lentils. It has a very kind of risotto-ish bite to that red rice. So it helps our guests connect with something that they're familiar with when it comes to kind of the texture of food. But then at the same time, we're just blasting them with something that they've never had before. I'm gonna add garlic ginger, shallot, and serranos. We kind of call this like the holy trinity, if you will, of Indian food. There's always garlic, ginger, serranos, and shallot in something, you know. Can't do anything without it. So we're gonna add a little bit of water to this so we can start the rice cooking now that everything is toasted together. And we finish it with yogurt a little bit later.
This next course right now, we're preparing the soft shell chaat. Over here, we got some nice live soft shell. I'm gonna be cleaning it by cutting the eyes and face off, cleaning the gills. This gets then dipped in a batter that has inspired by like a Thai-style chicken batter. So this is gonna get that nice soft, crispy soft shell flavor, and we're making a bunch of salsas that will be garnishing it.
Chaat is one of those kind of attacks on all of your senses when you eat. It's one of the most popular street foods in India. Every corner of every city has a chaat dude. It's usually some sort of potatoes, chickpeas, layered with rice puffs, layered with peanuts, chilies, lentils, crispy lentil noodles, yogurt sauces, mint chutney.
All right, so over here we have our nice rice flour batter. As we had cleaned it up earlier, what I like to do right now is just go right in half and right into the batter. So these are individual portions and it's fried. So it stands up like almost like a spider or kraken, kind of like.
Well, we crispy fry it by essentially being the crispy kind of base of that chaat. And then around it is where we start going crazy with all our sauces and all of our different accoutrements to make it that street food style chaat, but using such a beautiful ingredient like a soft shell crab. This is a very small team. They're a really great team. And we're not only just doing coach house service in here, you know, we have the bar Lilac Tiger that's up front. Lilac Tiger is our Southeast Asian street food bar up front. Really a la carte street food, dark, Indian whiskeys, Indian rums, Korean soju, mixed with all the beautiful street food from Southeast Asia. In the back, we have a 142-year-old coach house, hence the name Coach House. This is the next dish that we're going to be doing is called Gucci Musallam. Gucci is the indigenous word for morel mushroom, but in Kashmir. So we do this dish once a year. The reason for that is we can get these beautiful morels from the Himalayas. I mean, this is the king of the mushroom, if you will. It's very, very expensive, and there's always truffles stuffed inside them, or foie gras, or anything probably more expensive than the morel gets stuffed inside of it. So we are going to toast some garlic in here, and then we are going to add the beautiful cashews. Cashews have been used in South Asia to thicken sauces for a very long time, you know. But I always joke as like the whole world, or you know, in this part of the world, we're still living in butter chicken world. So butter chicken is the first introductory kind of dish for a lot of people when it comes to Indian food. But it's our job now to kind of expand what people understand as Indian food. And so the cashews are cooked out, the garlic is cooked out. Now we're gonna blend it with a little bit of milk. Just pure velvety sauce. So the last component of this musallam is this beautiful saffron. This is saffron from Kashmir, where this dish is from. Kashmir is one of the few places in the world that actually cultivate saffron, and for those that don't know, saffron is literally the pollen of this beautiful flower. It's called a crotus, so it's basically kind of the family of a lilac, so it's purple in petals, and then the pollen is what they basically pick by hand. There's no machine on earth that can really do this, so that's why saffron is so expensive. So we're gonna mix this in, and then as that saffron sits, it's gonna continue to infuse this broth. So this will go on top of the braised morels and the toasted brioche for the gucci musallam. The third course is called gucci musallam. We do it as almost like a toast. So we toast brioche, we layer it with fresh paneer that we made in-house, and then we braise those beautiful Himalayan morels, and then top it off with our musallam sauce that we blend into a mornay type texture. This is Chef Rishi. He's been working with me on a really awesome, exciting project coming up called Mira, and we're going to be R&Ding and testing out some of these dishes on our menu tonight.
I'm from like the northern Indianish part, Gujarat, but born and raised in Singapore, so there's a lot of like South Indian culture I grew up with. Vibing with Zubair has always been very natural. So what we have over here is all the mise en place laid out for one of the dishes we are R&Ding and serving tonight. It is inspired by a South Indian style fish curry known as mahi-mahi. So we're gonna do like a tuna crudo, and we're gonna make this, for lack of a better word, a curry.
First course for this evening is mahi-mahi. Mahi is a very hot dish in South India, a seafood dish, coconut milk, chili powder, poppy seed, black mustard seed, coriander.
We're sweating up the ginger, garlic, serrano, that curry leaf, that's the fragrance to me. Like when Zubair talks about how you cook with your nose, he likes doing that a lot. And what I do, so one part fun about his recipes is like he does that, and then I'm on the end, I'm like nervous. So I'm just like writing things down and like exactly like how it should be, so that when we create binders for restaurants, you know, the nerdy part of me comes out of that.
He's definitely the more organized, you know, grammed out one.
In the kitchen I am, yes.
Yeah, you know, I'm the grandma just being like, pick it up with your hand and measure it with your fist, you know. So the first step of the mahi-mahi is essentially building that beautiful sauce. What we want to do next is blend it, and then we chill it until service. After that, we're going to go right into slicing this beautiful tuna.
So we got some yellowfin tuna that came in today, about a 5-pound loin skin on. I'm gonna start portioning them out for tonight's dinner. I'm gonna just stack them up right now according to our portion size that we need. We're going straight into service. The fish is not being touched 20 different times. You know, it's a beautiful piece of fish. It's nice and fatty. Everyone loves this, so give the people what they want. When you cook food, it's gotta satisfy the gut. You know, it's not about satisfying your ego, making a cool dish or a cool technique. Yeah, it's flavor first.
All right, so this is one of the books that we found this in for the duck Numidian dish. So some poor soul back in the day, 1,000 years ago, was saving some of these pieces of paper. They stashed it, and then an historian found it and started to translate them. And when they translated them, they realized that these were food recipes. It's a little snapshot into history. This is going to be the base, so it's verbatim from the book. This component is the 927-year-old component of the whole dish that kind of brings it all together. We're going to be doing dates, cumin seed, coriander seed, pine nuts. I think the best part, this dish really kind of even captures what we do here best is like, you know, sometimes people look at spices and it's wild and it's so many spices going on, but if you look at our dishes, the components really are very, very 4 or 5 components, but each component, the spice mix might be a 20 spice mix. But when it comes to plating, we like to really keep it simple. And again, going back to having the flavors come out first is always the goal for us. We're gonna finish this duck sauce with vinegar and then a dash of fish sauce. So basically for this sauce, you don't want to obliterate all of the beautiful components into just a puree. And it says a coarse grind on the spices, you know, because in every bite, you'll kind of get that pop of the beautiful coriander, pop of the pine nut, pop of the cumin, and then the acidity with the seasoned vinegar and the kind of the umami flavor of the rounding out everything. And these are majdul dates, so these have a pretty great sweet quality to them, and they kind of balance that duck, the savory red rice khichdi with that beautiful jus. So when you take a look at this sauce, it really tells you how long we've been communicating across the world as humans. Yeah. So this is the tomatillo achar, sesame and tomatillo achar for our mahi-mahi taco. We love doing a taco every single menu. We make our fresh roti that we'll be doing as well soon. But this achar is basically the salsa of the dish, essentially. The fourth course is our quote-unquote taco. So instead of a tortilla here, we do a roti fresh in-house. So this is our fresh roti that we make every day. We make the rotis and then we punch them out almost like a street tortilla style size. And so this is gonna be our tortilla, if you will, for our taco later on in the tasting menu. The joke in the kitchen is that once you get the perfect circles, you're ready for marriage, you know? So Jacob's, what, are you married already?
No, I'm engaged.
Yeah, there you go, we could tell. So we're building this as a taco and all the different kind of layers a taco should have. We decided to do almost like a somtam dressing. This is our version of a somtam, not to, you know, there's gonna be some grandmas out there and be like, this is not the right way to do somtam, but it's as close as I can get to it. This is gonna be kind of like our fresh, you know, salad that we like to put on it. So we have red Thai chilies, a little peanut powder, some ginger, palm sugar, limes, of course some salt, and we're gonna have our fish sauce as well that we're gonna kind of add. This is the mahi that we just filleted. We sliced this piece exactly the same size as what's gonna fit in our roti later on for that taco. Mahi-mahi is also a very popular fish in South India. We're in the Indian Ocean, so where I'm from in Chennai, it is very seafood heavy. So what I'm building now is gonna be our marinade for this beautiful mahi-mahi. And it's yogurt, a little bit of oil, and then we make a blend of spices. There's more to Indian food than just heavy, kind of dairy-full North Indian dishes. The preconceived idea of Indian food now is that North Indian food is Indian food. And we're seeing a change in that with the beautiful restaurants in New York, Sima, you know, Tamaka, and all those guys, Unapologetic, are doing an amazing job of exploring and, like, you know, kind of giving a little bit more insight into different regionality, and that's what we're doing here. It becomes this beautiful paste, right? And it's really gonna hold on to that fish. To finish this base, it's a long list. Cumin seed, coriander seed, cardamom, black mustard seed, poppy seed. It's something that we make 22 quarts of all the time just because we use it so much. And so we will drop this fish in. We wanna really kind of let it marinate until service. We'll cook it fresh to order. Yep.
Tuesday night, full dining room.
Yeah, we're doing pieces of the Mira menu with Rishi and pieces of Coach House for tonight. Hi guys, how you doing? Thanks so much for joining us on a very special night. When you're a guest in our Coach House, you're with us. It's about telling our story, but it's about also getting rid of that boundary as, like, you know, you're a customer and I'm a chef, or you're really our experience. What we want our guests to experience is being guests in our house. So for me, I'm very blessed that we are a small place, man. There's no big bank accounts back here. This is basically built from scratch, and somebody's apartment was the first dinner. And where it is now, and with the James Beard nominations, it's all, we count our blessings every single day. All right, guys, so the duck has been in for about 6 hours. That looks great. You always want to lightly cook this just so it absorbs all those, everything from this beautiful sachet that we put in. You can smell all of the spices that went into it. So when it's off the bone like that, that means that it's gonna melt in your mouth. We're gonna start essentially pulling all the meat. Our chef Jacob is going to roll it into a roulade.
All right. So I'm basically packing it up really, really tightly. And what's nice about duck is that it's got so much collagen, interconnective tissue, fat, that we don't need like any meat glue to hold it together. I just fold it over, push it in, And pinch the sides. And I poke some holes with my cake tester. The holes are basically to release the air so you don't create those air bubbles inside. And then we have a nice, like, tighter roulade. And you kind of just roll them back and forth.
When this dish hits the floor, we stop all the music and we tell the whole dining room about the history of it. It's one of the most special dishes that we've ever done, and it's the dish that really leads when it comes to the coach house. We're gonna pass around the book here shortly where we found this beautiful recipe. So history is a big part of what we do here. And we take a duck leg, we pull it, roll it into a roulade for you. Start digging in. This is called duck Numidian. This is the last savory course. The reason for it is that this dish is very, very special to us. We're a very small restaurant in Chicago, and food doesn't mean just giving you a plate of food and letting you go on your way. For us, food is context, food is history. And in a world that needs to be reminded of its humanity every day, food is where it starts first. Thank you.